how are we all doing collectively? You know? I actually recorded this video already, but then I looked back at it and I was recording it in slow-mo. So, redoing it. Is there still food in that? I think it's a pretty common narrative that people like talk about. Would you rather, you know, like be burned alive or drown? Or would you rather, you know, go to space or the ocean? I think the ocean is probably the one that's the most like kind of dreaded, you know, because there's so much we don't know. However, I think I would take the ocean over the desert, like anytime. If you haven't lived in the desert, it's kind of hard to explain. I lived in Arizona and then I live primarily in Los Angeles, so I've spent a lot of time in deserts, and in the parts where there's no one, it's like super eerie and strange. And there's all these theories of, if you go kind of down the missing 411 route of, you know, people who are living and existing in national parks or these desolate areas, but a lot of them, you know, aren't so crazy, you know? There are people who have stories from all over of, you know, witnessing cult practices in the desert, in the high desert, or finding, you know, people in ghost towns. And this ties in with the plot of Horror in the High Desert, which is right now my favorite horror series. It's about to have its 4th installment. If you haven't seen it, it's absolutely incredible. I cannot recommend it from filmmaker to filmmaker or filmmaker to watcher enough. It is brilliant and it's scary. I am very rarely scared by things because I mostly consume horror, but every single one has gotten scary and scary. It scared me so bad. It is probably the best mockumentary I've ever seen because it's so realistic. So, all's to say, that original film, the first one, Horror in the High Desert, which is, it's just one, is actually based on a true story. I didn't know that at first, but then I kind of went digging. A lot of people's experience with Horror in the High Desert is they think it's real when they're watching it, as did I. My mother told me it was a real film, like a documentary, just a real one. And my husband and I were so scared. Come to find out, it's not real. It's just really good filmmaking. So I was obviously really intrigued. So this is about a guy named Kenny Veach. Kenny Veach was what you would call like an enigma. He was super out there and fun, and he was an inventor and a YouTuber and an entertainer. He spent a lot of his time renovating his house and auditioning for Shark Tank. Like he was also like kind of into the wildy, you know, like he was really jet set on not being a part of like the capitalist agenda anymore. So much so that, you know, he was living without a job and just had this faith that one of these inventions would get picked up. And I don't think I don't think it's all that crazy. Some of the shit I see on Shark Tank, I really don't get it.
Hello everyone at Quirky, my name is Kenny Veach and I invented the new improved toilet paper roll holder for the household. It works great and it's my own little invention and I'm going to show you how it works. First I'm just going to demonstrate it. When you run out of a roll of paper, you've got 2 decorative knobs. Everything looks like a regular one except it'll be like that. And then it runs out, you just pull that, put the other one in and let go. And right now it's not precise because I used hand tools.
Also a huge adventurer. He prides himself on going on these kind of extraordinary hiking trips and almost goes unprepared, but he does it on purpose. He'll bring like 1 granola bar and 1 bottle of water for like a 10-hour in and out hike. So his thought process was that if he actually was getting dehydrated or running out of, you know, steam, that he would know how to handle it in real life. But the thing that confuses me is that I think the whole time it's real life, you know? It's kind of where my head's at. Was pretty popular for this, and he would film some of these hikes and put them on his YouTube channel, and I'll put some clips in here.
Last time I came up here, I hiked up to the top of what they call Gas Peak, and I spent the night. It was a 2-day hike, and then I hiked all the way down to another valley over here and went past this mountain range you see on my right, all the way back out to the flat desert. Now, the camera doesn't pick this up very well, but it's a long way, and I just romp around out here, do some solo hikes, and have some fun.
He had a long-term girlfriend named Sharon, and sometimes she would go with him, but normally she wouldn't. He kind of would go and do his thing on the weekends, go hike, and, you know, live his life. He had this really, like, curious nature about the world, and, you know, when we get further into kind of where he was mentally, that's something that I find, you know, with people who are struggling a lot, is they're kind of just like waiting for that miracle, you know, because they know it's out there, like that passion is still there, but he was clearly so consumed by, you know, not liking where he was at before that. And like I said, inevitably running out of money. So this all started because Kenny commented on a video that was titled "Son of an Area 51 Technician." So he comments, "That ain't nothing. I'm a long distance hiker. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base." Dilly, can you call him?
Gord. Come here, Gord.
Maybe he just wants to be up here. "That ain't nothing. I'm a long distance hiker. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base, I found a hidden cave. The entrance to the cave was shaped like the perfect capital M. I always enter every cave I find, but as I began to enter this particular cave, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got to the cave entrance, the worse the vibrating became. Suddenly I became very scared and hightailed it out of there. That was one of the strangest things that ever happened to me." So he puts that comment on someone else's YouTube video, and when that happens, it kind of skyrockets into... Hear her screaming?
Who?
My mom?
No, I have my AirPod in.
So eventually a lot of people are just basically like, you know, saying like, "Pixar, it didn't happen," like calling bullshit, which totally fair. This is the internet. But a lot of people were also just like intrigued, you know? And a lot of people also were like kind of fearful for Kenny. In fact, there were comments that have since been deleted along the lines of like, "Don't go, you won't come back." This is like a huge rabbit hole, especially if you go on TikTok. Just be wary of, you know, some of the content that you consume, because a lot of it is not factual. I'm only giving you what I know to be true, but I do know for a fact that a lot of those comments exist but have been deleted. You know what I mean? So whatever. Kenny is like, "Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'll go and I'll bring my gun," because he didn't bring his gun last time. That was like the big reason he didn't feel safe to go into the cave. So he says he's gonna bring it this time, and this is gonna be a 20-hour hike total.
My mission today is to just do a 1-day hike. It's about a 10-hour hike. I got to still go over another ridge and then go all the way down a big crevice. It's real narrow and gets kind of scary. And I'm looking for a cave that I found, and I didn't have a sidearm when I was here before, and something about that cave just spooked me. Out of all the caves I've ever gone in, this one just made my body vibrate. The closer I got to it, the crazier my body felt, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to go in there right now, but I'm coming back someday. And I talked to some people on YouTube, and I told them, "Hey, I'm coming out here," you know, because they kind of called my hand on it.
And unfortunately, it was ultimately unsuccessful, which is a bummer for our friend Kenny, but people weren't satisfied. They were begging him to go and try again. And I really don't know why he did end up going a third time. I think that, because a lot of people say that all of this is like a stunt, you know what I mean? But it's highly doubted. He just kind of wasn't that guy. And this also, YouTube wasn't like his main thing, you know what I mean? He loved hiking, and I think he thought, you know, that he was on to like that big cool thing happening in his life. So he recovered. He said that normally he had to recover for 3 days after his hikes because they were that brutal on his body. And then he set out to go on the third installment of the hike looking for the M Cave. He saw Birdman with Sharon the night before. She knew that he was going, and then Kenny sets out on November 10th, and he would never return. 12 days later, search and rescue located his phone by the same mine shaft that was in the video where he was talking about the M Cave before. So all to say, it's implied that he was on the same track. Sharon said that she told the cops where his car would be, and that's where it was. Like, he was exactly where he said he was going to be. Like I said, I'm not really going to go into theories. There are a lot of people who believe that he took his own life, because he had mentioned to Sharon that if he was going to take his life, it would be in the wilderness. But it's just like it's a tough one, because why would he go? You know what I mean? Like, he seemed so excited about this thing, and it was like the first big thing to happen to him for a really long time. So people are divided. Sharon has come out and said, like, she's pretty sure he killed himself, but his family, including his daughter, does not believe that he committed suicide or died by suicide. So it's kind of to each their own. Also, his sister-in-law's or ex-sister-in-law's store later down the line gets broken into. So like an entire year later, her store gets broken into by someone who looks a lot like Kenny on the CT footage. And nothing is stolen except for an iPad, but it looks like the individual's looking for something. They are never able to identify it, because if you've ever seen CT footage, it's like bottom of the barrel. You know, it's either not working or it's like 360p. It's just like miserable. So some people think that's Kenny. Some people think that that was him, but again, that's another theory that just kind of is tough to speculate on, because he wasn't really close with her. They weren't together anymore. Like, it was just weird. And again, the family and friends remain divided. He mentions that he was near Nellis Air Force Base. This is the biggest Air Force base. It's freaking massive, but he's also really close to Area 51. So a lot of people speculate that he witnessed something that he wasn't supposed to, right? Or stumbled upon something that he wasn't supposed to. But the theory I tend to fall more towards is like the theory that I think Horror in the High Desert takes, which is like there are people living out there, you know? If you haven't indulged in like the missing 411 lore, I highly, highly recommend it. But it's no secret that there is a lot of cult activity in the high desert, dating, you know, just back to 2022, people going missing and being found in these cults. Like, it's like a well-known thing. And I actually read this story. It was like so scary. I had nightmares for days, which is really weird for me because, like I said, I consume a lot of scary stuff. This story was so scary. I will put it in the caption below. I'm not going to read it to you because it would take like 30 minutes, but it is so scary, and it's about one of these desert cults that they find. I'm curious to know what you guys think, what you think he saw. Like I said, a lot of people, there's a ton of people who think in his videos you can see something or someone watching him. Like, his footage has been so analyzed and kind of harped upon. But like I said, I'm not going to give you anything that isn't factual. So do your own research, go figure out what you think, and let me know in the comments, because this case is one, you know, that's still not solved. There's no closure, and as possible as it is that he's still out there, it's also incredibly possible in a place like, you know, the high desert, that he could be there and we would have no idea. He could be dead and we could have walked right past him. Just the terrain alone of the high desert is nuts, you know, but also there's so many mine shafts and things that are close to the public now but used to be operational that we can't go in. So, you know, it's just very possible that he died by suicide, or because most people don't think he died by like a accident or an animal, just because he did this like almost every weekend. You know, he was very, 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 very well versed at what he did. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Thank you for your patience this week. Oh my God, nightmare. If you want me to do anything else on like high desert cults or missing 411, let me know. Let me know what you want either way, because I'm still like just starting, so I still want to know what you guys want to watch. Okay, smoochies.